Dude, this SpongeBob episode has so many Easter eggs in it. In the season 16 episode, Squidward's Tough Break, this is a fairly new one by the way, Squidward Tentacles finally gets a day off of work and his boring job at the Krusty Krab and plans a fancy brunch at a high-class bistro. Or is it bistro? I don't know, let me know in the comments. All I know is that those places usually have bagels and coffee, and that stuff is really yummy. But yeah, Squidward, dressed to impress, heads to what he believes is this cafe, only to end up at a very rare and infamous location, the Salty Spatoon. And dude, this is where we can find a ton of Easter eggs. Fans will recognize this place as the same like dive bar first introduced all the way back in season 3's No Weenies Allowed, where only the toughest fish dare to enter.
I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
Yes, so?
Without any milk.
Right this way. Sorry to keep you waiting.
In that classic episode, SpongeBob famously struggled to prove his toughness at the door. And I'll be honest, we've actually seen the Salty Spatoon plenty of times since No Weenies Allowed. Nonetheless, in this episode, the writers were smart. They put Squidward in the Salty Spatoon. He runs into Reg, this guy right here, the very same doorman from No Weenies Allowed, who literally chucks him through the doors of the bar. Well, from this point onward, this episode gives us a shit ton of nostalgia, with there being a bunch of Easter eggs and familiar faces. For example, one of the very first is a deep cut character, this guy right here, Harry the Health Hazard. He's like a wrestler who hasn't appeared in quite a few years at this point. This dude first showed up in the season 12 episode Patrick's Tantrum, and he's back here in Squidward's Tough Break, seen among the Salty Spatoon's patrons. This sets up for a quick gag where Reg promptly punches Harry right in the stomach. Ouch. That looks like that would really hurt. I don't think I personally want to mess with Reg. The Easter eggs and references continue inside the bar, as the episode literally becomes like a who's who of all of SpongeBob's different like tough background characters. I mean, the show's team clearly had a blast populating this episode and the Salty Spatoon with obscure tough guys from across the SpongeBob universe. There's a ton of them here. Another example is this dude right here, a fish that fans like to refer to as the Huge Guy, a giant muscular purple fish that you'll remember from the iconic episode The Fry Cook Games. Back in that season 2 episode, the Huge Guy carries Patrick out on his back.
Bow down before the awesome might of this huge guy who's carrying the real contestant, Patrick Star!
Years later, in this very random incidental character, the Huge Guy appears in the Salty Spatoon on the wall of the toughest guys. And there's still more. This entire Salty Spatoon section of the episode is like overflowing with different Easter eggs, and this was likely by design. It seems the writers in recent seasons have been eager to revisit it. Like, it's clear that Nickelodeon has made an effort to make the Salty Spatoon like somewhat of a reoccurring location within SpongeBob lore now. In fact, the Spatoon has reappeared a few times since season 13. So yeah, the location is back full swing in the show. And to fill out the bar's background, the art team seems to have dug deep into the character archives, and the result is a ton of rare character cameos during the Salty Spatoon sequences in Squidward's Tough Break. For instance, a tough ladyfish named Mo appears, a really cool Easter egg because Mo actually originally came from the Camp Coral spin-off series. Like, Mo isn't a regular SpongeBob character. They were brought into the main SpongeBob series during Salty Sponge, and later in this episode, Squidward's Tough Break, as we can see them right here. Another example is the HR Thug, who originally appeared back in the episode Selling Out, where he threatened Squidward. The art team needed to fill up the Salty Spatoon and looked for any random thug or criminal-like character they could find, and trust me, this is a good example. The HR Thug is very random, and he appears right here in Squidward's Tough Break. But we can also spot this character right here, the biker fish, originally designed for the episode Potato Puff. Like I said, the art team had to dig deep, so they pulled this character from Potato Puff, and they're now a regular part of the Salty Spatoon crowd. But there's plenty of classic tough guys that originated back in No Weenies Allowed that also make a comeback in this episode. For example, my boy Tattoo Terry. This guy, for some reason, just looking at him is so nostalgic to me. Here's a side-by-side of him in this new episode and him back in No Weenies Weenies Allowed. There's also this guy, the Hate Fish, and even this dude, the Popeye Fish, another very familiar fish if you're an old school SpongeBob fan like me that watched No Weenies Allowed back in the day. Now, to be fair, some of these characters have occasionally reappeared in other episodes over the years since No Weenies Allowed, but seeing them all assembled together back inside the Salty Spatoon, the very place that originally defined them and created them, is really cool. There are a ton that I didn't mention, so if there's any fellow SpongeBob nerds like me, let me know in the comments all of the other reappearances in the Salty Spatoon of characters who have appeared in the past that I missed. As the plot continues though, Squidward starts fitting right in with the Spatoon crew, eventually earning the respect of Reg and the gang, thus turning himself into a new tough guy persona known as Crazy Legs. This leads to a subtle Easter egg during a scene at the Krusty Krab, where Squidward shows up to loiter and mess with the normies, as he puts it. Squidward demonstrates just how evil he's become by doing something truly terrible, guys.
Mind if I double dip? No, 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 no!
I know, right? Put this dude in jail. Freaking lock him up. Incidental 1D is absolutely disgusted by this, but here he is in this episode making a very familiar face. And if this disgusted face seems familiar, it's because it absolutely is. It's almost identical to a classic reaction from the episode Something Smells. And that season 2 favorite, SpongeBob's rancid and nasty breath from his infamous peanut onion ketchup sundae. Like, this dude literally eats a sundae with ketchup in it. That's, oh my gosh.
Ketchup! Onions! Good thing I still have these peanut plants growing in the windowsill. A little texture never hurt.
This makes his breath so bad that SpongeBob makes this dude in the movie theater, Incidental 1D, recoil in just disgust from the smell.
I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
The Squidward's Tough Break R team faithfully recreated Incidental 1D's meme-worthy face, giving us a direct reference to that Something Smells gag, which is very nostalgic, at least for me. That's it for this episode though, but let's head into another episode, like I always say, with more Easter eggs. And real quick guys, I'm gonna say it really quick to all my regular viewers. I know you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me say this, but to anybody who's new, please subscribe guys. I put a lot of love and time into these videos, like so much passion goes into these to make sure they're accurate, and I use no AI. I'm one of the only like SpongeBob sleep channels on YouTube that doesn't use AI. So if you're enjoying this content and you want content from a real person who loves SpongeBob, probably way more than he should, click subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. And I'll owe you like a whole slice of pizza, okay? Deal. Let's talk about the episode Squidina's Little Helper next. And this is actually an episode from the Patrick Star Show, the SpongeBob spin-off. It's not from regular SpongeBob, but trust me, okay? Trust Cartoon Corey. I dug deep and found a ton of really cool references, gags, and trivia about this episode. So let's dive into it. This episode focuses on Squidina Star, and she's actually the producer of her and Patrick's show, but it focuses on her overworking herself and deciding to hire an intern. Well, right from the opening scene, the episode has a little bit of an Easter egg that's more of, I guess, like a meta reference that ties into the SpongeBob universe. Squidina wakes up in her bed, slaps her alarm clock, and suddenly springs to life. Now, in this quick shot of her bedroom, you may notice this poster right here on her wall, and it's actually like identical to the real life promotional poster for the Patrick Star Show, at least back in season 1, and is very similar to that actual marketing material for this spinoff. Like I said, this one isn't entirely an Easter egg, but it's a very meta reference because they're like literally acknowledging it within the show. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it. Moving on though, immediately after hopping out of bed, Squidina enthusiastically says the following line.
I'm ready to get this show on the road!
Now, if that phrasing gave you some deja vu, it's because the first part, I'm ready, is of course a direct nod to SpongeBob's own iconic catchphrase.
I'm ready! I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready.
As a lot of you probably already know, SpongeBob first shouted this catchphrase all the way back in the show's pilot, I believe, Help Wanted, and Squidina's helper is making a little bit of a reference here to that catchphrase. After this, Squidina leaps into action, setting up like an elaborate contraption to ensure Patrick wakes up and actually gets ready for the day's broadcast on time. As you can imagine, Patrick is probably the type of dude to oversleep, you know what I mean? Well, this whole sequence is one big visual gag, as Squidina rigs the house with various props and even lays out clothes for Patrick to tumble into. But here's the thing, there's one element of her setup that involves jellyfish jelly, where we see Squidina grab a jar of this jelly and she uses it to paint a path for Patrick. Well, it seems that this jar could be an Easter egg, as the label on Squidina's jar is very similar to the jellyfish jelly jar seen back in the episode Jellyfish Hunter, where it features a transparent jar, which I will admit the jars are kind of different, and the labels are somewhat different, but they both feature like an orange splat and the word jelly in the exact same purple text, using the same font. So yeah, the one we're seeing right here in the Patrick Star Show looks just like the homemade jellyfish jelly that SpongeBob harvested and brought to the Krusty Krab years before in the season 2 episode Jellyfish Hunter.
Hey, buddy, what the heck is that?
Why, this is a hole, good sir.
Not that. That!
It's just a little old Krabby Patty smothered in jellyfish jelly.
Amazing.
It was so delicious that Fred, our boy Fred, literally breaks into a song after trying it. So I personally would like to try it, but I don't know. Would you guys eat jellyfish jelly? Let me know in the comments. It is clearly somewhat of a reference here, though I will admit this one could be a coincidence. What is undeniable though is the font, like the text itself, is identical. Moving on though, as the episode's plot kicks in, Squidina reveals that despite her very happy mood all the time, she's feeling pretty burnt out from single-handedly producing the Patrick Show every day, so she desires to hire an intern to help her out. This leads to this tiny little character right here getting the job. So Squidina gives him a backstage tour of her high-tech production setup, and this leads to another really funny Easter egg or reference. Squidina shows her new intern a special control lever and says with a grin that this is the slapstick lever before pulling it.
This one, for example, tosses the chainsaws to Patrick. And this one moves it to his next mark.
As you just seen, specifically, the robot hand pokes at Patrick's eyes and delivers rapid-fire physical comedy in a way that is very clearly referencing Moe, Larry, and Curly, and things that they would do to each other back in The Three Stooges, a black and white but classic comedy show from back in the day. I also love that, by the way, after this automated smackdown, Squidina casually says the following line.
That's our slapstick lever. We try not to overuse that one.
Now, right after that slapstick lever demonstration, Squidina realizes that the live studio audience for the Patrick Show is getting restless due to some dead air, so the show cuts to the audience. And here, animators snuck in another really cool Easter egg, this one I personally love, as front and center we see Lady Upturn, the posh, snooty fish who has become like quite the reoccurring character in modern SpongeBob episodes. As some of you may already know, Lady Upturn is known for being wealthy and easily bored. She first appeared all the way back in season 10 during the Krusty Catering episode as a yuppie party host, and she's appeared many times since, even in Camp Coral. And Squidina's little helper, she's sitting in the crowd looking very disinterested. And if we zoom in on her hands, we can see that she's holding a very specific magazine, specifically a Fancy Living Digest magazine. And this is sick. This is actually a callback to the season 3 episode Chocolate with Nuts, a banger of an episode, very nostalgic. In that episode, SpongeBob and Patrick stumble upon Squidward's copy of Fancy Living Digest in the mail, a magazine showcasing the extravagant lifestyles of rich fish.
Hey, Squidward, how do the people in that magazine get all that money?
They're entrepreneurs. They sell things to people.
What kind of things?
How should I know? Things people want to buy. Now keep your paws off my mail.
This inspires the duo to start selling chocolate bars. This is the entire reason that they go door to door trying to sell the chocolate bars, becoming salesmen themselves. This magazine hasn't really been seen much since its original appearance, but it has popped up a few times in the background of episodes. For example, you can see it right here in the episode Chum Bucket Supreme, and in this shot of the episode Missing Identity. But this was its first appearance in the Patrick Star Show. And I don't know, personally, I really like when the spin-offs reference against the actual show, it shows that everything is like connected. As when all of these spin-offs first started coming out, they felt like they were in different universes sometimes. So as I've said a million times in the past, it's cool when SpongeBob, like the regular show, acknowledges the spin-offs, and it's cool when the spin-offs acknowledge things that are normally seen in the regular show. Also, one other thing I want to ramble on about before we get into another Easter egg is that this appearance here is like very well written, because if you think about different SpongeBob characters, right? Like Lady Upturn is the type of character who would be reading such a magazine, so good continuity from the writers. Sometimes people will accuse the SpongeBob team of just using Easter eggs as nostalgia bait, right? And that it's not always done correctly, but this is an example of it being done very naturally and being done in a way that actually fits the plot and the characters being used. But let's take a break from the Easter eggs and dive into some facts and trivia about this episode, more about the behind the scenes production of the episode, as there's a ton of content online that offers fans like us a peek behind the curtain at how these types of episodes come together. 2D animation is very complicated. But yeah, some storyboard images for this episode were shared online by the SpongeBob production crew. So let's deep dive into those. Comparing the storyboards to the final scenes gives us cool insight into the creative process and how all of this stuff comes together. For example, one set of storyboard panels shows the sequence where Squidina's new intern hops on an oversized glue bottle to squirt glue on the wall, but ends up covering Patrick with glue instead. In the storyboard sketch, we can see a rough version of this scene. I'm showing them side by side, and yeah, it's just cool. It highlights just how far the team goes to turn what we see in storyboard images into like a fully colored shot. Additionally, one of the show's background painters, Brad Sutton, shared some background art from this episode. Notably, he posted the key background painting of Patrick's stage workroom, essentially the backstage area where Patrick and Squidina run the show. So let's take a look at this art side by side with the actual episode, as this is just another really cool thing to see. In Sutton's artwork, which is most likely used as a reference image whenever animators are animating the actual room, we can see all of the furniture and just different elements that ended up being used in the fully animated scene. Like I said, this isn't necessarily Easter eggs, but I want to start incorporating sections like these or like this into these types of videos, just because, you know, it's good to highlight the other staff members, but I don't think all of the people responsible for the show, all of the tons of people who contribute to the animation and storyboards and all that stuff, I don't think that they get recognized enough. And there is so many behind the scenes images and storyboards released by them online, so we might as well talk about them and compare them to the final product. Another thing I want to start talking about in these videos are deleted scenes and cut content. Interestingly, some of the gags in Squidina's Little Helper were deemed a bit too much for younger viewers overseas. Not in America, but in the UK and in Ireland. In those regions, broadcasts of this episode made a number of content edits and cuts for safety and sensitivity reasons. For example, early in the episode, there's a moment where Squidina says that she's burning the candle at both ends. When she says this, Patrick, ever literal, is shown with an actual candle burning from both ends stuck through his head. He even pulls it through his head like it's no big deal at one point. It's a quick, cartoony visual gag. However, the UK version of this episode completely cuts this shot, most likely out of concern that children might try to imitate it. Another example early on in the episode is when Squidina is frantically getting Patrick ready. At one point, she uses a giant razor to shave his stubby face in a very cartoonish way, but I mean, if you actually look at Patrick's face in slow motion, he does get cut up. Nonetheless, this gag in the UK version is cut down drastically. Also, the slapstick lever demonstration scene that we already talked about, remember that scene? There's a part of it where Patrick nearly gets his eyes poked out, and this part of the gag was cut from UK broadcasts as well. It's kind of weird because, I mean, like, if we go back in time, earlier episodes like The Splinter had some very grotesque and like graphic scenes, and it aired in the UK seemingly uncut. So it's weird that later in the future, in season 16, gags like this are getting cut in the UK. But hey, don't ask me, go and ask Nickelodeon. For now though, let's get back to what you guys actually want, and that's Easter eggs in another episode. In the episode Laundro Madness, SpongeBob and Squidward take a mundane errand, washing clothes at the laundromat, and turn it into a wacky monster movie that gleefully cleans up on references. The episode brings back the wash, the same bikini bottom laundromat that Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Patrick visited during their night out in Midlife Crustacean.
Hello, gang! SpongeBob's bad.
Let's party!
Any part in this store? Wait a minute. This is a laundromat.
I guess the writers in season 16 really like this episode, Midlife Crustacean. It's a good episode, man. Remember when Mr. Krabs stole his own mom's underwear? That's a story for another day, but let's keep it moving. Die Hard fans will remember that in that season 3 episode, the trio's big evening of fun ended up turning into doing laundry at the wash. As you guys have seen in my more recent videos, and even in this one, this seems to be a big trend in recent seasons, is them taking locations or characters from older episodes and making them a part of the world of SpongeBob instead of them just being one-off locations. For example, this wash place was just a one-off location in Midlife Crustacean, so it's cool that they're making it like a part of the lore. But let's keep it moving. As the episode progresses, and after an intense cycle, SpongeBob triumphantly presents Rube's freshly cleaned hat, and in that moment, he strikes a familiar pose. His face is the spitting image of the goofy, anticipatory grin he showed in the Krusty Krab training video episode, when waiting for the narrator to reveal the secret formula. It's the same wide-eyed, toothy face full of excitement, and fans of that classic training spoof will instantly recall SpongeBob quivering with that exact same expression. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, like you can see it. This is a really cool reference, but of course I've got more. The mundane soon turns monstrous as an overloaded washing machine comes to life, assembling itself into a sudsy giant. Informing its body, it grabs odds and ends from around the laundromat, and one of those items had SpongeBob fans cheering: Patrick's high-heeled boots. Oh yeah. The washing machine yanks a pair of women's stiletto boots, and we see that they're the exact same that Patrick donned in this iconic scene from the original SpongeBob SquarePants movie. The monster uses them as one of its makeshift legs. It seems Patrick's fashion choice was memorable enough to haunt Bikini Bottom's laundry. And speaking of familiar faces, as the climax unfolds, none other than Fish Cowboy from the episode Boating Buddies saunters into the wash.
I think we all learned a lesson here today, and I wrote a song about it.
In Boating Buddies, this country western fish randomly appeared. Roll the footage.
I never will understand these city folk.
Laundro Madness brings him back for an encore, as at the end, as everyone celebrates defeating the laundry monster, this cowboy strums a guitar and sings a twangy tune called Wash and Dry. It's the same character and same gag, now hilariously repurposed for a laundromat victory song. It's an Easter egg that could easily fly under the radar, but for those who remember the random cowboy singer, it's a really cool surprise to see him return. It's random, but it's really cool. Finally though, the showrunners couldn't resist one more tongue-in-cheek reference. Throughout the episode, a bright orange and blue detergent box is visible right here, and its design and color scheme are unmistakably evoking from the famous Tide laundry detergent brand. And I mean, come on, this one's obvious.
Tilly, be nice. Leave that starched shirt alone.
By the end of this episode, the laundromat is saved, Squidward's shirt is clean, albeit with some battle scars, and the audience is left marveling at how many jokes and references were put in this episode. I mean, from bringing back the wash, an old location we haven't seen in years, to referencing SpongeBob's first movie, Laundro Madness is a great episode with lots of nostalgia. The episode SpongeBob Trash Pants turns a simple beach cleanup into a high-speed spectacle, brimming with references to SpongeBob's past. The episode finds SpongeBob volunteering to rid Goo Lagoon, Bikini Bottom's beach, of litter, and in doing so, he essentially becomes a one-sponge sanitation army, complete with a snappy uniform.
Trash, trash, everywhere trash. Picking up flotsam and jetsam. SpongeBob's the name, and litter's my game. So if you got garbage, I'll get some.
Well, longtime fans will immediately recognize SpongeBob's outfit in that last scene I just played, as it's almost a duplicate of the Union Soldier-style uniform he wore during the indoor campout of the Season 6 episode Pineapple Fever. The difference though, this new version is bright white and sports a taller cap, but the homage is unmistakable. It's a fun visual cue that SpongeBob SpongeBob is entering battle mode against trash, much like he did against Cabin Fever. And indeed, he takes his new duty comedically seriously, which, as you guys know, that's how SpongeBob is. Remember when he became a hall monitor? He took that job equally as seriously. Anyways though, when this potato chip bag catches the breeze and flies off, SpongeBob gives chase across Bikini Bottom, and the episode becomes a grand tour of Easter eggs. The first stop, the boat rental kiosk at Goo Lagoon, which eagle-eyed viewers will remember from the episode Abandoned Twits. And there's more. As SpongeBob sprints past, determined to catch the rapper, he suddenly pulls off a classic gag. He deepens his voice to a booming baritone and sprouts a heroic square jaw. This hilarious transformation is a direct callback to this scene from the episode Hall Monitor.
And assume my duties as
Hall Monitor!
Wish me luck, Mrs. Puff.
Gotcha!
Fell for the old tears of a trash man routine. I'll just put you in my pocket for safekeeping.
As you just seen, SpongeBob for a moment acquires a deep authority voice and ends up looking like a total Chad, a Giga Chad. Look at that jawline. In Hall Monitor, it was a part of his overzealous persona, and seeing it resurface in an episode years later, like 20 years later, is a perfect inside joke showing that SpongeBob is still a control freak, and he can have a really nice jawline sometimes. The chase scene becomes a who's who of Bikini Bottom cameos. At one point, the hot rod tough guy from the episode Midlife Crustacean zooms by in his flaming convertible.
Hey, you guys must be lost! Doofus Drive is around the corner!
This time though, he gets pulled over by a police officer for speeding. The tough guy instantly becomes a softie. He produces flowers and chocolate out of nowhere and hands them to the cop in apology. But meanwhile, in the midst of the chaos, Bubble Bass barrels through the scene wearing a familiar ensemble he wore way back in the season 1 episode Fools in April. I guess Bubble Bass hasn't updated his wardrobe since 1999, which is a cute detail for observant fans. And keep your eyes peeled on the background as Bubble Bass tries to escape SpongeBob, as for a split second, Patrick is visible hanging from a carnival prize hook on the boardwalk, desperately trying to stay hidden. The visual gag references Patrick's antics in The Whole Tooth from season 9, where in this scene he does a very similar action at a fair to avoid going to the dentist.
Whoa.
And we have a winner.
Thank you.
Oh, darn it.
It's a tiny detail, but it rewards viewers who catch the parallel Patrick once again hooked at a fair. But guess what, guys? We're still not done. There's more, and there's a lot more. As SpongeBob's pursuit takes him through town, the animators populate the streets with old establishments we've seen in prior episodes. We pass by mattresses and then some, and if this store looks familiar, it's because we've seen it before. It's the exact same store from the old school episode The Lost Mattress, where SpongeBob and friends bought a new bed for Mr. Krabs. Next is Martha's Craft Zone, which again, we haven't seen it for a while. The last time we seen it was in the episode Have You Seen This Snail, when SpongeBob gathered supplies to make Missing Gary posters. And then, in a triple whammy, we see Weenie Hut Juniors, the Pizza Pie Hole, and Taco Sombrero. Now I'm hungry, but this is the trio of fast food joints where SpongeBob tried working at when he got fired in the episode SpongeBob, You're Fired. Seeing all these locations on one boardwalk is like a mini SpongeBob map of memories, cleverly inserted without fanfare. They establish Bikini Bottom's continuity, as all of these places still exist and are open for business, even as SpongeBob rushes by on his mission. The climax of the chase sequence is equally jam-packed with even more references. SpongeBob ends up launching into the air and crashes directly into a horse-drawn funeral carriage, driven by Slappy, the living dummy character from Nickelodeon's crossover, The Patrick Star Show. As SpongeBob hurtle through the psychedelic sky, keen fans will notice it's the same sky tunnel that Mrs. Puff and SpongeBob flew through in the episode Doing Time. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah man, this is a reference to a season 3 episode. It's really cool. Reusing that distinctive swirling background for SpongeBob's trash flight is a brilliant deep cut. And even the title card of SpongeBob Trash Pants carries an Easter egg. Its design mimics the title card of Jellyfish Hunter from season 2, except now there's trash everywhere around the title. But actually, there's more, and you really need to to be a nerd to catch this one. As a cherry on top, the episode slips in a meta reference that even the most seasoned fans might have been stunned by. For those who don't know, a WH-2O radio tower appears during the chase. A sunken red and white boat with a tall antenna, mass broadcasting music. Casual viewers might just see a random radio station, but SpongeBob nerds like me recognize WH-2O as the fictional Bikini Bottom radio from the Best Day Ever album, a SpongeBob music album released in 2006 that opened with a WH-2O skit. I'm gonna play it here. I'm gonna try to put some music in the background maybe so it doesn't get claimed, but listen.
Hi, radio listeners. This is SpongeBob SquarePants. When I'm in Bikini Bottom, I listen to Al Bacori, the tuneful tuna, on WH-2O. WH-2O.
In Trash Pants, this very station is shown for the very first time in the series, making the first ever crossover of a SpongeBob album element into the TV show. On the other side of the station is text proudly declaring nothing but chase music since 2006, a cheeky reference to the album's release year and the jaunty chase music it featured. It's an Easter egg that nobody saw coming, not even me, breaking the wall between SpongeBob music and cartoon canon. And with that, SpongeBob Trash Pants cements itself as a treasure trove of inside jokes. An episode that, much like SpongeBob's trusty uniform, stitches the old and new together in one entertaining package. As a two-part Halloween special, The Haunted Bucket overflows with spooky fun and callbacks to SpongeBob's own haunted history. The episode's setup sees SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward entering the Chum Bucket on Halloween night, only for Plankton's latest evil gadget to malfunction and rip open a portal to a ghostly underworld.
Why are they dressed like cowboys? Well, I bought the Chum Bucket cheap because it was built on an ancient cowboy burial ground.
What follows is a cascade of visual gags and references that will make any longtime fan cackle like the Flying Dutchman. In fact, speaking of the Dutchman, Squidward shows up to Mr. Krabs' Halloween party wearing his old Flying Dutchman costume. And if it looks familiar, it's because it's from this scene I'm about to play from the episode Scaredy Pants. Roll the clip.
I've come for your pickle.
Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, he's wearing the exact same costume, and I love this, man. Like, this episode is season 16, so it came out in 2025. Scaredy Pants came out in the early 2000s, so whoever wrote this episode or this gag, they did their research. You know, I wonder if Squidward dresses up as the Flying Dutchman every year, and if he does, it's kind of funny, because this is the same dude who put Squidward down the Fly of Despair. This happened in the episode Shanghai, and just look, poor Squidward. Actually, maybe he's dressing up as him so that doesn't happen again. But anyways, once the real haunting begins in this episode, SpongeBob himself ends up transformed into a special form. And keen-eyed viewers will notice that it's the same look he sported in Season 7's The Curse of Bikini Bottom. In that episode, SpongeBob and Patrick were turned into transparent green ghosts by the Dutchman's curse.
You're ghosts!
Ooh. We're ghosts!
Yay!
This isn't really working out the way I imagined.
The Haunted Bucket gives SpongeBob a similar ghostly appearance when he accidentally gets zapped by Plankton's machine, echoing the previous episode I just mentioned. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick's choice of Halloween costumes is also a deep cut in itself. Take a look.
We're going as a simul. Uh-oh. I think we're both rear ends.
As you just seen, SpongeBob and Patrick dress up as a two-person horse. This silly getup actually resembles Patrick's own horse alter ego from the episode Pat the Horse, in which Patrick pretended to be a horse for literally a whole episode. Like, I'm not lying. Take a look at this clip.
Calm down, buddy. I don't want to lose you again.
But the episode doesn't stop at character costumes. The entire Chum Bucket laboratory is dressed up with references. When Plankton chases the trespassers into his basement lab, the set piece will look familiar, as the lab's layout closely resembles the high-tech lab seen in Welcome to the Chum Bucket, right down to the large machines and eerie lighting. Like, here's a side-by-side and you can definitely see it. Additionally, SpongeBob's old robot SpongeBob makes a cameo in the corner, and this is the same robot version of SpongeBob from the episode Welcome to the Chum Bucket.
Get welded.
Wait! I command you, make me a Krabby Patty!
There's another Easter egg during that same plankton laboratory scene, with the animators even throwing in a transmogrifter device from the episode The Algae's Always Greener, another infamous plankton invention that swapped his life with Mr. Krabs. It's sitting amongst the junk in the lab, and it's a blink and you'll miss it type of Easter egg for sharp viewers who recall that life-switching remote control. These background details firmly root the haunted bucket in SpongeBob's lore, making the Chum Bucket feel like a haunted museum of Plankton's past schemes. I love it. And there's more. At one point, Plankton frantically brainstorms how to stop the rampaging ghosts he's unleashed and muses that he needs something absorbent yet porous. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Well, it's an obvious nod to the SpongeBob theme song, where it says absorbent in yellow and porous is he. It's a clever fourth wall poke that suggests Plankton knows exactly who can save the day.
All we need now is something to contain those ghosts.
Something absorbent, yet porous.
Oh.
Even the trick-or-treating montage is loaded with Easter eggs. For example, who remembers the character Kenny the Cat? He appeared in literally the episode called Kenny the Cat, and take a look at this clip. He was an interesting character.
But down here, I'm someone special, someone who can make people happy. And if making the world a happier place makes me a criminal, then lock me up and throw away the key.
This is how Kenny the Cat looks. And remember this as it's important. If we go back to that trick-or-treating montage scene, look.
Hello?
As you just saw, one of the background kids is dressed as Kenny the Cat, complete with whiskers and a ear headband. And he even has a poster of Kenny in his house, referencing the famous air-breathing feline from the episode Kenny the Cat. This is really cool because it's more world building. Kenny the Cat is a celebrity in Bikini Bottom, if you guys remember from the episode Kenny the Cat, so it makes sense that a kid would have a poster of him and would dress up as him. This was really good writing here. But if we look closely, another costume child twirls in a sparkly pink gown. Well, a lot of people think that this could be a reference to Glinda, the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz. Here's a side-by-side. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You should be sleeping though. You shouldn't be commenting anything actually. Just stay sleeping, close those eyes, and let Cartoon Corey put you to sleep. It sounded kind of creepy, but I don't mean it like that. But let's keep it moving, as just when you think the Haunted Bucket has packed every single SpongeBob reference possible, it even tips its hat to Charlie Brown. Some of you guys might not know Charlie Brown because you're young, but Charlie Brown is like an iconic cartoon from back in the day. But yeah, a few scenes gently parody the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown special, with pumpkin ghosts and candy gags that Peanuts aficionados will definitely recognize. All of these homages and in-jokes are woven seamlessly into the narrative. The characters never pause to explain them, like I do, but fans like me in the know will be very happy with this episode, so go give it a watch. The episode Go Fetch stands out in SpongeBob history as the first fully CGI animated episode of the series, and it uses unique visuals to drive into a simple, sweet adventure. Gary's favorite red ball bounces into a deep, monster-filled trench, and SpongeBob loyally plunges in after it.
Good thing this huge pile of lost balls broke our fall.
From the very start, the animators hid references in the background art, but not all of it made it into the final episode. For example, early concept paintings for the trench include scenery modeled after SpongeBob's Season 1 episode, Muscle Bob Buff Pants. And there's also a scene that didn't make it into the episode, resembling imagery from SpongeBob's Season 4 episode, Have You Seen This Snake? Which is fitting because this episode does follow a similar plot. Now these are subtle nods. A rock formation here, a lighting setup there, that gives long viewers a warm sense of deja vu as SpongeBob and Gary descend through the dark depths. But the treasures of Go Fetch aren't just in the scenery, they're also in the props and characters. Gary's coveted red ball is a direct continuity nod to the episode Gary's New Toy from Season 9, where Gary becomes obsessed with this toy.
Go and get it.
Fetch!
As you can see, this ball is very similar to the one in Go Fetch. In fact, the ball here is actually identical to the one to that episode, down to its color and pattern. Seeing Gary refuse to give up on his toy is extra rewarding if you recall how much the snail loved his bouncy ball back in Gary's new toy. The thing became obsessed with the toy. I don't know why I just called Gary a thing, but he was obsessed with that ball. And there's more. As SpongeBob chases Gary's ball deeper, they encounter a ghostly translucent fish lurking in the abyss. And if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll recognize the design, as it bears a striking resemblance to a quirky character from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. In the movie, a similarly transparent floater appears during the trench scene, and here that design resurfaces as if the film and show have converged. It's a blink and you'll miss it cameo, but a thrilling one, to be honest. It's really cool to see a reference to that OG 2004 SpongeBob movie. If you haven't watched that, seriously go watch it, it's really good. Now, despite being a modern technical showpiece, like this is the first episode in 3D animation, and hopefully it's the last. I like 2D SpongeBob, but this one still feels almost nostalgic in spirit. It even includes a gentle tribute to the late Steven Hillenburg's storytelling style, mostly visual, adventurous, and guided by music and expression, and all without saying a word. So really good episode, and I've got more. Let's head over to more Easter eggs in this next episode. The episode Heart of Garbage, another one from season 16, plunges Bikini Bottom into dystopian chaos when Squidward's home becomes ground zero for an ever-growing mountain of trash. Ew. Like, look at this, I can smell it from here. It reminds me of SpongeBob's breath back in the episode Something Smells. It also reminds me of something else, but we'll get to that in a moment. In a storyline that is part parody, part homage, Squidward accidentally angers the garbage men and ends up literally trapped in garbage for 6 months.
The trash goes in the truck, not on my lawn. Just put the garbage where it's supposed to go.
Dude, imagine being trapped in garbage for that long. Oh my God. Just imagine how bad Squidward smells right now. But more importantly, guys, this is actually a reference to something. This riffs on Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness and its famous film adaptation, Apocalypse Now. The entire episode functions as a playful underwater echo of that classic tale. And I mean, just look at the plot. SpongeBob and Patrick must venture through a garbage jungle to find Squidward, much like Marlowe taking a journey up a river to find Kurtz.
You made it this far, but you still must pass the booby traps up ahead.
Please!
This homage is acknowledged right in the title as well. I mean, it's called Heart of Garbage, which is a direct spoof of Heart of Darkness. Also, fun fact, longtime viewers will recall that this isn't the first time that Squidward's house has been overtaken by trash. Back in season 7's Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, SpongeBob once helped Squidward avoid littering fines by moving all of his litter to his house, thus turning his house into a house of garbage, complete with trash furniture and a trash bed. I don't think that bed would be very comfy, guys. Like right now, you're probably in bed watching this video. Imagine if you were in that garbage bed, you would not be getting any sleep. But anyways, Heart of Garbage hilariously encapsulates that concept. But instead of a one-off slight gag, the entire interior of Squidward's real house becomes a sprawling garbage labyrinth that SpongeBob and Patrick have to navigate. In the episode Near Mint Plankton, Plankton concocts a new scheme by shrinking down and disguising himself as a collectible figurine. And why? You guys know why. He wants to snag one of those delicious Krabby Patties without Mr. Krabs noticing. Very clever, Plankton. Instead, though, he ends up in the clutches of Bubble Bass, who is an avid collector of limited edition superhero memorabilia. This guy is obsessed. And we're gonna get into the Easter eggs, but I gotta say, I do like how they changed Bubble Bass's character over the years. Originally, he was just this rude dude who liked pickles, but they've kind of turned him into the nerdy character who's obsessed with nerd stuff. Anyways, though, this episode's premise naturally sets the stage for a literal treasure trove of different SpongeBob nostalgia and Easter eggs. For example, when Mr. Krabs cashes in on the collector craze by selling special edition Krabby Patties, the varieties on offer are a delightful deep cut from the season 9 episode Munity on the Krusty. In that earlier episode, it's actually really old now, from like 2015 I think, but in this episode, SpongeBob introduced novelty patties like the Hattie Patty, a Krabby Patty that you wear as a hat. There's also the Chatty Patty, a talking patty for teens, and the Bratty Patty, a kitty patty with a backwards baseball cap.
And he's the man who brought you the double Krabby Patty, and the Krabby Patty with cheese, and the Brownie Patty for kids.
This Patty's stealing my style. I'm the only one who's allowed to wear a backwards baseball cap, guys. Come on. Surely enough, though, Near Mint Plankton shows Bubble Bass proudly adding a new pickle patty to his collection, right alongside his Chatty, Hattie, and Bratty patties. The very same whimsical burgers first seen during Munity on the Krusty. This is a clever callback that rewards eagle-eyed fans. And even Bubble Bass's line, "I'll place it next to my Chatty, Fatty, and Bratty patties," directly references those legendary novelties. It's not like they just showed them, he literally refers to them by name, so we know this is an Easter egg. But let's keep it moving, as Bubble Bass's basement itself is a shrine to SpongeBob lore. Viewers can spot a statue of SpongeBob dressed as a certain superhero. Take a look at this clip from the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5, more specifically the superhero that SpongeBob turns into. This guy right here is the Quickster, and we haven't really seen him since Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. We've seen some of the other superheroes in this episode. For example, in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5, Sandy dresses up as Miss Appear, another superhero that can turn invisible. But we've actually seen Miss Appear a couple of times since then. For example, in the episode Delivery of Doom, or in the episode Appointment TV, as you can see here. But the Quickster, we haven't seen this character for a long time, but that all changed in Near Mint Plankton, as look, amongst Bubble Bass's collectibles, there's this statue of SpongeBob dressed up as the Quickster. This blink and you'll miss it background gag firmly anchors the episode in SpongeBob's wider universe. And who knows, maybe we'll see the Quickster again in the future. I would love to see another episode where they all dress up as superheroes, but I've got more, and the Easter eggs are gonna get even crazier as we go. That way, if you guys are still awake, you haven't fallen asleep yet, at least I can keep you guys entertained. But you should be asleep already, bro. What are you doing? You got work or school tomorrow. Go to sleep. I love you. I'm trying to support you here. But anyways, here's the next episode. This next episode, Squirrel Jelly, has 2 Easter eggs in it. For the first one, though, we have to rewind back to the episode Jellyfish Hunter. Now, we haven't seen this character, who's known as Friend, for a very long time. But near the ending of Squirrel Jelly, look, he makes his first appearance in a very long time. Now, the other Easter egg is related to a song, as if you listen closely in the scene I'm about to play, the song I Hate People, which is from another SpongeBob episode, SpongeBob's Place, can be heard in the background.
I can have the best of times all alone because I hate people!
When Patrick's mother, Bunny, leaves the Star family home for a week in the episode Clean in House, she leaves to claim an inheritance in Clopnod, the location we were talking about earlier. And when she does this, chaos quickly erupts in her absence. Each member of the household is tasked with cleaning a different part of the now filthy house before their mom gets home. And it makes for a good plot, but I know what you guys are actually here for, and it's the Easter eggs, as there are a bunch of visual references and nods to SpongeBob's lore in this episode. Here's the first one, roll the clip. So as you can see right here, I'm looping it, but Patrick can be seen eating a chocolate bar. But this isn't just any old chocolate bar, guys. Take a look at it and then take a look at this scene and it might seem a little familiar.
Did you say chocolate?
Yes, sir. With or without nuts.
Yeah, that's right, guys. The chocolate that Patrick's eating at the start of this episode is the same chocolate bar from Chocolate with Nuts. Here's a side-by-side. And dude, now I'm hungry. Deep fried crabs today. This chocolate bar. I'm gonna go get some food after this. But yeah, really cool reference, guys. And here's another one. Roll the clip. Alright, so let me explain. As you can see, there are 3 disgusting cockroaches right here, and they may seem a little bit familiar to you guys, as their design resembles the one that we seen back in the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4. Okay, and here's one more from this episode, and you all should right away get this reference. Roll the clip.
She says she's coming back home.
Home? We gotta get the place clean before Bunny gets back.
I ain't doing any cleaning.
We'll start with your filthy mouth, Dad.
Now listen, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and no matter what, Cartoon Corey loves ya and respects ya, but if you did not catch that Easter egg, you're kind of a fake SpongeBob fan, as you guys just heard, dolphin chirps were used as replacements for curse words, which is a direct reference to the iconic episode Sailor Mouth. Our next episode is called The String. And before we get into the Easter eggs, let's do a little plot summary. This episode begins with SpongeBob cooking Krabby Patties until he sees a loose thread on Squidward's shirt. SpongeBob decides to pull the string and ends up pulling it for so long that it leaves Squidward naked.
Someone order a rusty cab?
I like string.
Congratulations.
And this is where the episode pretty much goes from here. SpongeBob continues unraveling things until every Bikini Bottomite is pretty much annoyed, especially Squidward, who always ends up having his clothes unraveled by the string. This all goes on until the end of the episode, where Patrick eventually uses the string as dental floss, thus ending the episode. But just as the episode ends, there's a huge Easter egg. If we go back to the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie, there's this fisherman right here. And we haven't seen him since that movie, but at the very end of the string, he makes his first reappearance in a long time. Next up is the episode Gorilla Suit Day, another one from season 16. I've been covering tons of new episodes in this video, just saying, so please subscribe. But if you're a true SpongeBob fan, the episode name Gorilla Suit Day should already kind of give you an idea of one of the Easter eggs here. But like I said, you gotta be a hardcore SpongeBob fan. But we'll get there. So the premise itself of this episode is really fun. On the annual Gorilla Suit Day, SpongeBob dons a full-body gorilla costume, and with Patrick's help, plans to prank the whole town. Right from SpongeBob's morning routine, the episode starts referencing classic SpongeBob moments. For one, when SpongeBob wakes up, he excitedly checks a giant calendar on his bedroom wall. And this itself is a reference, as if we rewind back to the season 1 episode Boating School, take a look at this scene.
This is it, Gary. The big boating exam is today. I've never felt so capable!
Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, those are the two exact same calendars. So a cool Easter egg there again, but let's keep it moving. SpongeBob then enthusiastically swings on a vine and launches himself into the calendar to mark the date, which is also another direct homage to Boating School, as you guys just saw. The only difference this time, and I'm showing it side-by-side and looping them, is that he's imitating Tarzan instead of using his bed as a catapult. And here's another fun fact for you guys about this episode. As you heard, SpongeBob did like a Tarzan-like roar just now. And funnily enough, the sound clip that was used for this is actually a recycled clip, as listen to this scene from the episode Who Are Zoo. Yeah, the animators or the editors were feeling kind of lazy, and they used the exact same sound effect and recycled it in this episode. Also, the whole gorilla suit thing seems to be somewhat of a reference to the episode I Had an Accident, as at the end of that episode, Patrick dresses up in a gorilla outfit. We're not done with this one yet though. As SpongeBob struts around in his gorilla outfit, eagle-eyed viewers might notice a familiar design. The gorilla suit he wears looks identical to the one he briefly tried on in the season 6 episode Boating Buddies. Except in this episode, the fur is gray rather than brown. In my opinion, guys, I think that this one's a reach, but if you were to go on like the SpongeBob Reddit, I've seen people debating if this is an Easter egg, so don't blame me, I'm just presenting it to you. Later, when SpongeBob tears apart the house in a panic because he gets stuck in the suit and starts being mistaken for a real gorilla, he starts searching for his trusty spatula. And listen closely as he calls it something specific.
Spatty? Spatty!
As you heard, SpongeBob referred to his spatula calling it Spatty. And if we listen to how SpongeBob refers to his spatula in an older episode, Spatula of the Heavens, listen, he calls it the same thing.
My spatula's broken, Mr. Krabs. I can't make Krabby Patties without Spatty!
This episode also adds to a running gag about Mr. Krabs and deep fryers. Unfortunately for our favorite crab over here, there have been numerous instances in older episodes where Mr. Krabs has just straight up gotten deep fried. For example, take a look at this clip from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob.
Mr. Krabs, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Ouch, that definitely hurt. And it happened again in the episode Mermaid Pants. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty hungry now, but that's not what we're here for, as this gag of Mr. Krabs getting deep fried was actually referenced in Gorilla Suit Day. As take a look at this scene.
You can't fry me. I'm not even better. I hate Gorilla Suit Day.
Hey, at least it happens off camera this time, but that sounded like it really hurt. Turns out though that Mr. Krabs isn't the only person to get hurt in this episode. For one more final meta gag or reference, Squidward ends up getting physically squashed by a rampaging real gorilla that appears, which is a callback to the episode I mentioned earlier, I Had an Accident, where something very similar happens. By the end of the episode, the town is in chaos, but fans are treated to a treasure trove of references. From SpongeBob's calendar shenanigans to Mr. Krabs getting deep fried, this episode's a good one with lots of Easter eggs. I recommend it. In the season 16 episode, Exchange Student Driver, Mrs. Puff finally finds a clever, well, kind of extreme solution to get a break from SpongeBob's never-ending boating school failures. She decides to enroll him in a foreign exchange program and ships him off to a distant driving school in Klopnod. If you've heard of Klopnod before, it's because this is actually like kind of a reference. If we go back to the Patrick Star Show episode, Klopnodian Heritage Festival, we were introduced to this whole culture.
I'm so happy to be sharing my Klopnodian culture with my family.
According to this pamphlet, Klopnod is the silliest place in the ocean.
So it's cool that that was referenced here. This is another example of them, you know, expanding the universe and connecting the spin-offs to the main show. This location has appeared tons of times in the Patrick Star Show, but this was the first time it ever appeared in SpongeBob. And it kind of makes it now like 100% a canon location. But let's move on. The episode, The Creepy Crab, brings a spooky vibe to the Krusty Krab, and even its title, like the title of this episode, is actually a reference in itself. Longtime SpongeBob fans and nerds like me who need to touch grass might recall that back in season 2, there was an episode called Bossy Boots, and in this episode, SpongeBob brainstorms a bunch of new names for the Krusty Krab. And listen closely to these clips, you'll hear something familiar.
How about the chaotic crab?
How about the kissy crab?
The creepy crab? The killer crab?
As you just heard, the creepy crab was actually one of SpongeBob's suggestions. And you have to think how crazy it is to go back and reference this. Like, Bossy Boots is an iconic episode, but it's also like a random season 2 episode. So the fact that they went and got this reference and decided to include it in this episode is really cool. Now on the episode's plot, Slappy, who's Nosferatu's eccentric assistant for those who don't know, this guy right here, he gets hired by Mr. Krabs and decides to give the Krusty Krab a full haunted house makeover for an evening. And this is where we can find the other Easter egg, or I guess it's more of a reference. Fittingly, Slappy's friend group of monsters comes in to dine. And it's easy to miss, but each one of them is actually a nod to classic horror icons. There's Dracula, an invisible man, a Frankenstein-type creature, a gooey blob reminiscent of literally the Blob, and a howling wolfman, among others. Seeing all these familiar monster archetypes, sharing Krabby Patties is a treat for any horror movie fan, and it's also just a really cool reference. And of course, I've got more. Next up, we're going to talk about the episode Slumber Party Stars. And here's the thing, this is actually like technically the Patrick Star Show episode, but the reference is to OG SpongeBob, and it's really, really cool. For it to make sense though, we have to go back in time a little bit, guys, and go back to the episode Sailor Mouth. Can you believe that this episode is like 20 plus years old? It's from season 2. And in this episode, we see SpongeBob and Patrick play a very specific game, Eels and Escalators.
Hooray! Escalators!
Now, this game has popped up multiple times in other episodes over the years, but even in season 16, it's still popping up. As look, in Slumber Party Stars, the die that Cecil holds up is the exact same one from Eels and Escalators. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, what a cool Easter egg, right? These ones are awesome. Another cool reference in this episode is what Patrick is seen wearing during the scavenger hunt scene. Some of you guys may be too young to catch this reference, but Patrick is actually wearing Elmer Fudd's hat. He was a character from the Looney Tunes, and here's a side-by-side, and yeah, it's like pretty much the exact same hat. But let's head over to another episode. Here's one that you guys probably weren't expecting, but in the new SpongeBob movie, the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, if we look at one of the promotional posters, we can see that SpongeBob and Patrick are mimicking the exact pose that Jack and Rose make in James Cameron's 1997 film Titanic. Similarly, said poster's tagline, "Near, far, wherever pirates are," is a parody of the line, "Near, far, wherever you are," from the song My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, which was the main theme of Titanic. Hopefully we'll have more Easter eggs from this one once it comes out. Let's talk about the episode SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up, which is a very ambitious time travel episode that celebrates SpongeBob's history. More importantly though, this episode has a lot of Easter eggs, like almost like 15 different Easter eggs in one episode. So let me take a breather. And let's get into this, guys. Here's the first one. All right, so as you guys can see, we're in SpongeBob's living room right now, all right? And there's something important here. There's two things here that are very important, and it's these two pictures. They may just seem like normal, ordinary pictures, but they're actually references to classic SpongeBob episodes. This one references the season 1 episode, Jellyfishing. The photo in the frame is a literal shot from that episode. And this other one references the season 2 episode, Frankendoodle, which as many of you guys know is when we were first introduced to Doodlebob. It's really cool to see that even in season 16, there's references to season 1, 2, and 3. And there's gonna be a ton more. Let's keep it moving. Here's the next Easter egg. Take a look at this. This one is very similar to the last one, and it's very nostalgic, as there's a bunch of moments from older episodes that are shown in this book right here. This is SpongeBob's scrapbook. This moment right here is SpongeBob with the inflatable pants from the episode The Sponge Who Can Fly. Here's a side-by-side, really good reference. And this other one is showing SpongeBob and Patrick doing their iconic performance at the Bubble Bowl. This happened in season 2's Band Geeks, and here's another side-by-side. Oh, also, listen to what Grandpat says right here.
I was gonna play the stock market and invest in goofy goobers. I know who wins the Bubble Bowl.
If you heard him correctly, he actually references the Bubble Bowl, making for another reference to an iconic episode. And this next Easter egg is very similar. It has to do with a certain location that we have not seen for a very long time. Take a look at this clip. If you're confused on what's going on here, I don't blame you, as this location hasn't appeared for like over 20 years. But this place right here is the Comedy Crab, and it's a stage show where comedians perform basically. And if you remember, it's where SpongeBob performed making fun of Sandy in this clip right here from the episode Squirrel Jokes. Roll the footage.
And what's up with that squirrel fur? I guess fleas need a home too, huh?
Squirrel fur!
Now that is a really cool reference. It's awesome to see a location like pop up again, especially when we haven't seen it for so long. It might not seem like a big deal, but these types of things help build the world of SpongeBob when we know that there's all of these locations within Bikini Bottom. But anyways, I'm rambling, and here's the next Easter egg. Roll the clip.
Hey, Squidina!
The bus is here!
Now, I wasn't entirely sure about this next one, but after watching one of my favorite episodes, Rock Bottom, I know for sure that this is a reference right here. As just like SpongeBob from the episode Rock Bottom, Squidina tries to catch up with the bus, but she can't because the road is pointing up, of course, and this prevents her from going up. But more importantly, she also falls and climbs the same exact way that SpongeBob did in Rock Bottom, as you can see in this side-by-side. So this was a very clear and direct reference. Pretty cool, and guess what, guys? I have another Easter egg. So let me explain a little bit here. A big plot point of this episode is that the events of multiple other SpongeBob episodes are pretty much rewritten by the Patrick Star family, which includes season 1's Help Wanted, the episode Ripped Pants, the episode Rock Bottom, as I just mentioned, and the episode Neptune's Spatula. And something I found really weird and interesting here is that the second half of the rewritten version of Help Wanted pretty much turns into an abridged version of the episode plankton. For this one, you really have to watch the whole episode, and you really need to have watched Help Wanted and the episode Plankton to get this one, so I can't explain it much more. But this section of the episode actually has a whole other reference in it, and that's SpongeBob, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs' designs, as it seems that the animators went to replicate the animation style of the original episodes. For example, take a look at Patrick in this episode and how he looked in Rock Bottom, or Neptune's Spatula. If you look, his eyebrows are shaped like M's, but if you look at a more recent shot of Patrick, they don't look like that. They kind of changed his design in modern SpongeBob, but they went back to his OG design for this episode. The same thing goes for Sandy. If we take a look at a modern shot of Sandy from any other episode, her design looks like this. But back in SpongeBob Season 1, she looked like this. Well, during the ripped pants segment of SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up, look at Sandy. Her suit is depicted with 3 dots, just like the old school design. And this one is like really interesting, but in the original ripped pants episode, there's this shot where Sandy's missing her tail. And they actually referenced this in SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. As look, even in this modern shot, they didn't draw her tail. So pretty cool. But what's also really cool are the outfits that SpongeBob and Patrick are wearing in this scene right here. You have to be like a hardcore SpongeBob fan to catch this one because it's a reference to SpongeBob Season 7, but if you guys remember, in Season 7, there was this episode, SpongeBob's Last Stand. And if you look at the clip I'm about to play you, you're gonna notice something familiar. Yeah, those are the same outfits we just saw in SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. So even 10 plus seasons later, they're still referencing this, which is very, very, very cool. And I have another reference like this that's very similar that can be found in this next scene right here. It takes place during the Rock Bottom part of the episode. This is another obscure reference, and it's to the season 11 episode Ink Lemonade, which isn't really that old of an episode, but there's still an Easter egg here. In that episode, we were introduced to this character right here, Mildred, and she actually makes her first appearance in like 7 years since 2018 in this episode. SpongeBob has been doing this a lot lately. For example, if we look at a character like Lady Upturn, she originally was like a very passive character, but she now pops up all the time. So who knows, maybe we'll see Mildred more often as well. And this reappearance might be SpongeBob building up the SpongeBob world even more, like I was suggesting earlier. But anyways, here's another Easter egg.
Next. Next. Next.
If you're confused, some of these characters right here, this guy, we've seen them before. They're not just regular rock bottomites. If we rewind back to the season 11 episode, The Night Patty, in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick decide to do something we haven't really seen before. After a trip at Glove World, they decide to grab a bite to eat at the Krusty Krab, but it's nighttime.
Howling rings, sucker shakes, boogers, crawly fries.
Give us the works!
One great Pacific garbage patch!
Order up!
Turns out that the nighttime attracts a completely different crowd at the Krusty Krab, including some of these guys right here. And here's a side-by-side, these characters actually appeared in the episode we're already talking about, SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. They can be seen right here in Rock Bottom, which is a fitting place for them. And yeah, it's kind of weird seeing season 11 episodes get Easter eggs now, but I mean, like, season 11's kind of old now. Like, let me check, 1 second. I'm literally gonna do a Google search, 1 second. 2019, so it's been 6 years since SpongeBob season 11. Crazy to see that we're getting Easter eggs referencing episodes from that season now. But here's another Easter egg.
All we have to do is...
I can't believe it ain't Scratina! I was just starting to remember I had a sister.
So as you guys just heard, Patrick just said, I was just starting to remember I have a sister. And if this sounds familiar, it's because Patrick has said this exact same line before. And to find it, we have to go all the way back to season 2. See, this is where I expect Easter eggs. Those seasons are old enough where I understand there being Easter eggs. But yeah, we have to go back to season 2, more specifically the episode Something Smells. As a listen, Patrick says like the exact same line in this episode.
Oh my god! gosh, if my sister finds out. Oh, wait, I don't have a sister.
It's pretty cool to hear him say the same thing like 20 plus years later. And I could ramble on about that, but we got more cool Easter eggs to cover. So here's the next one. Roll the footage.
Let's get you in bed, mister, and fix you up.
My kingly docket is incredibly full today. But I'm far too ill to complete my royal duties.
You have to be obsessed just like I am to catch that Easter egg, but if we rewind back to season 6's The Clash of Triton, we see Triton and Queen Anthrite. This is how they look, especially in that season 6 episode, Remember, as if we go back to that clip I just played, look, they're shown right here and are pictured. Now this one requires some elite ball knowledge for sure, alright? But if you watch the Patrick Star Show, a running joke from the episode Pearl Wants to Be a Star is that Patrick's grandfather, Grandpat, and Mr. Krabs have a rivalry. For example, take a look at this clip from Pearl Wants to Be a Star.
About time you showed up, Krabs. You know why the Navy is always late? They gotta wait for the tides to wash them ashore.
Well, during SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up, we get this scene where it's literally brought up and referenced, which is really cool because this shows continuity. Roll the footage.
I hope it's not a problem working for your old frenemy.
I'm not working for you, Krabs. I'm working near you.
This is one of the biggest things I've seen in season 16 is the SpongeBob team is doing a bunch of like little things to add more continuity to the spin-offs like Camp Coral, the Patrick Star Show, the movies, etc. But yeah, here's another one. Roll the footage.
Formula acquired.
All hail the Grand Patty!
Did you guys catch it? Well, Karen's analyzer, this thing right here, is the exact same one from the episode Plankton, the season 1 episode Plankton. I love this type of attention to detail, and I mean, look at this side by side, they're nearly identical. Also, we don't need to play a clip for this, but something I want to point out, if you ever watch this episode, is if you pay attention to Karen's personality, it's a lot more in line with her earliest appearances. They've evolved her character over the years, but this episode is definitely paying a homage to the original Karen from season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay, there's one more for this episode, and then we can finally move over to like another episode. Can you believe they put this many Easter eggs in one episode? Considering the plot of this episode, I guess it makes sense. But anyways, I need to explain. My phone went off, but I'm gonna keep it in the video still, because I'm real. I'm not like one of those crappy AI SpongeBob channels. But yeah, I need to explain this one. But basically, a while back, there was an event called the Tidal Zone, okay? And basically, there were 3 episodes from SpongeBob season 13 where the Patrick Star Show and the SpongeBob regular cartoon had a crossover. More specifically, Grandpat, who would go through this wormhole right here to different times.
Sweet Neptune, have I found the beginning of the universe?
Now, if you pay attention during this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up, I feel like I've said that 1,000 times already, but in this episode, whenever the Star Family travels through time, that exact same wormhole animation is reused. And I think this is how it's going to be forever now. I think whenever there's a time travel storyline in SpongeBob, they're always going to use this exact wormhole animation. But anyways, that one was kind of boring. Hopefully it was so boring that you're sleeping right now. You should be sleeping by now. But let's head over to another episode, guys, and I've saved some of the crazier Easter eggs for later on. That way, if you're still up, I still keep you guys entertained, all right? Next up is the episode In Search of Camp Nudist. In this episode, SpongeBob and friends hear a rumor of a secret nudist camp in the woods. Yes, you read that right. So the group set off on a curious quest to find it. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy tromp through the forest in search of the fabled Camp Nudist, while camp counselors Mr. Krabs and Squidward chase after them in a panic. I mean, they definitely don't want a bunch of kids stumbling onto naked campers, right? As the hike wears on, Squidward grows exhausted, and this is where we could find an Easter egg. In a dramatized moment, Squidward collapses and wheezes for Camp Master Krabs to go on without him, and what follows is a cheeky nod to SpongeBob's own theme song. Mr. Krabs shrugs and immediately marches ahead while whistling this. Roll the clip.
You'll have to go on without me.
Okay.
What? What? Wait, hey, don't leave me alone out here!
It's a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg that longtime viewers instantly recognize, as Mr. Krabs just sang the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song, or at least a very similar version of it. I'm gonna keep these clips short just because I don't want to get destroyed by copyright, but here's like 2 seconds of the SpongeBob theme.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
And if you listen here, Mr. Krabs plays pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna play it again. Here's like 2 seconds of that.
Wait, hey!
Really cool, but let's head over to another episode. Just a little reminder that if you're still awake, you should be sleeping. And if you're still awake, you might as well grab your phone and subscribe to us. Please do it. I'm trying to hit 10K and we're really close. So if you enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate it. At least I'm not like all those other crappy AI SpongeBob channels. I'm a real person. I'm gonna be doing my face reveal soon. This is my actual voice. Blah, 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 blah. There's no AI. All right, go and make AI do that, but I'll do it on camera soon to prove it. But make sure to subscribe, guys. I love you. And back to the video with some more Easter eggs. Our next episode is the Donut of Shame, a very short episode from season 5. This bite-sized episode opens with Patrick groggily waking up on SpongeBob's ceiling after what appears to have been a wild night of partying. Who knew that Patrick got so crazy, man? Like, dude was probably staying up all night eating ice cream.
Would you like another spot of tea, Ms. Nibsy? Oh, you would?
From here, Patrick notices SpongeBob still asleep, clutching a delicious-looking donut. A beautiful specimen of donuthood, as Patrick pretty much calls it. Ever impulsive, Patrick liberates the pastry from SpongeBob's hand and sneaks it home for himself. And this is where we can find some Easter eggs, or well, some references. The animators slip in a sweet nod to the show's early days. I'm gonna roll the clip and let's see if you guys can spot it.
A beautiful specimen of donuthood. A donut this nice deserves to be served on fine china.
If you didn't catch it, let me explain. Hanging on Patrick's wall is a framed picture of SpongeBob drawn in his season 1 art style. This is very important here. It's not a modern looking version of SpongeBob. At the time, this episode was from season 5, and he doesn't even look like his season 5 design. It's very clearly his season 1 design. This deliberate background detail contrasts with the episode's season 5 visuals, playfully reminding longtime fans of SpongeBob's classic look. Now, aside from that nostalgic little Easter egg, the Donut of Shame peppers in a couple of other fun touches. For example, the way Patrick awakens in this scene is a spoof of horror film tropes, mirroring a similar scene from Saw of all things. Here is a side-by-side, and what an interesting choice for a children's cartoon. But yeah, some cool little references in this episode and some facts, but let's keep it moving and head over to a different episode. In Chatterbox Gary, SpongeBob acquires a pet translation collar that finally lets his beloved snail Gary speak his mind. Imagine getting one of these for your dog or for your cat or for your hamster. It'd be pretty cool.
Hello there, Papa Bob.
Now, we're gonna get into the Easter eggs. I know that's what you clicked on this video for, but I gotta give you guys the context. That way they make sense. SpongeBob excitedly shows off Gary's new voice to his friends, but when they visit Squidward's house, the real fun begins. Gary surprises Squidward by complimenting his interior decor, revealing that he's actually a really classy snail, you know? He's got a sophisticated sense of design, as Squidward puts it.
Come, Papa Bob. Let's get out of here before this bad taste rubs off on us.
Oh, gee, do you have to?
Don't be sad, Squidward. We'll be back soon.
From here, this is where we get to our first couple of Easter eggs, and they're really, really cool, as this leads to a gallery of in-jokes adorning Squidward's walls. And eagle-eyed fans can definitely spot some of these portraits here and the references that they're referring to. For example, this one right here of handsome Squidward, referencing Squidward's briefly beautified form from the episode The Two Faces of Squidward.
Squidward, you're even more handsome now!
If we keep it moving, in another framed piece, Squidward is shown grappling with a sea bear. And this one is a very specific reference. Like, I really like this one. This one's really cool. It kind of brought back some nostalgia for me, as if we rewind to the episode, the camping episode, where SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward all go camping. There's this scene where Squidward refuses to heed SpongeBob and Patrick's anti-sea bear precautions. And yeah, this happens.
No, like that.
Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, this is a really cool callback. If we head back to Squidward's gallery, there's even this painting of a very specific sculpture. It's right here, I'm circling it, and it's a reference to Squidward's sculpture from the episode Are You Happy Now? Again, here's a side-by-side, and yeah, this one's also really cool. And there's more, so let's keep it going. For example, this image right here references the episode Not Normal, specifically this scene, or how about this one? This one references the episode Gone. Here's a side-by-side with the episode Gone and the picture or the portrait, and as you can see, this is a reference, really cool. There's like 3 or 4 more, but I'll let you guys talk about them in the comments. What other portraits here are references to older SpongeBob episodes? To be honest, you shouldn't even be answering this because you should be sleeping, but if you aren't sleeping, it's okay, you can answer this one, but then go like right back to sleep. Alright. Anyways though, the Easter eggs continue when Gary snoops in Squidward's closet. And guys, this is a big one, especially if you're an old school SpongeBob fan like me. I've been watching this show since I was a little kid, even during the Steven Hillenburg era, and this Easter egg really hit me in the heart. Who remembers the episode Band Geeks? In this one, Squidward's arch rival Squilliam shows up, and things get very competitive between Squidward and Squilliam, with it basically leading to Squidward having to form a band and perform at the Bubble Bowl. Well, take a look at this scene where Gary snoops through Squidward's closet.
Oh, tacky.
Hold on now.
You may have missed it, but look. Hanging inside is Squidward's marching band uniform from that episode, Band Geeks, complete with everything. Like here's a side-by-side, and this is a very clear reference. It's a blink and you'll miss it tribute to Squidward's triumphant Bubble Bowl performance, and it's pretty awesome. Altogether, Chatterbox Gary cleverly weaves these references into the scene, implying that Squidward has kept memories of his many adventures, from the good to the bad, and even the handsome. But let's keep it moving and head over to another episode. The episode Hog Huntin' follows SpongeBob and Patrick on a wild countryside adventure, tracking down Old Man Jenkins' prized worm hog, a pig-like critter, after it goes missing.
You keep your hands off my beautiful Beulah!
I wasn't touching her, I was just, admiring her beauty.
This episode dives into a ton of good humor that plays into the whole countryman stereotype. Think barnyards, beards, and backwoods shenanigans pretty much. It's a good episode. But it also hides a couple of clever pop culture parodies. One of the first gags comes when SpongeBob stumbles on Old Man Jenkins watching his favorite soap opera, Days of Our Styes. For those of you who don't know, this title is a really funny little goof referencing the long-running soap opera, Days of Our Lives. The show's writers are clearly winking at the audience here. Bikini Bottom has its own version of Days of Our Lives, only with hogs instead of people. And if that sounds familiar, it's because SpongeBob has spoofed this exact soap opera before in the episode Wary Gary. This one is a snail-focused drama called Snails of Our Lives, played on TV as a pet parody of the same series. Later in this episode, Hog Huntin' treats us to a musical Easter egg that's perfectly in tune with the episode's country western vibe. SpongeBob and Patrick end up literally living in Old Man Jenkins' enormous beard for a while. Long story short, hiding from an angry Jenkins after a failed hog catching attempt. During their cozy exile in his facial hair, and sings a delightful ditty titled Home in a Beard. Take a listen, but we can't play it for too long because I'm not trying to get destroyed by copyright.
Home in a beard, where the whiskers and stubble are weird. If the melody and theme sound old-timey to you, that's by design. Home in a Beard is a direct parody of the classic American folk song, Home on the Range. The original 1972 song famously yearns for life on the open prairie, whereas SpongeBob's version yearns for, well, the comfort of living in a bristly old beard. I cannot relate. Between the soap opera spoofs and folk song parodies, Hog Huntin' shows that even in jellyfish fields and barns, SpongeBob's world is never far from ours, or from its own past jokes. In the episode, Pardon My Wand, another one from season 16, by the way, let me know what you guys think in the comments about season 16. I feel like there's been some really good episodes this season. But yeah, in this episode, SpongeBob comes into possession of a misplaced magician's wand. And of course, as you can imagine, SpongeBob doesn't give it back. He proceeds to cause absolute magical mayhem across Bikini Bottom, just like he does in this clip right here. Roll it.
Gary, did you redecorate the living room while I was out?
This episode is jam-packed with rapid-fire gags, as SpongeBob accidentally transforms and enchants everything in sight. And many of those gags are sly callbacks to SpongeBob's past antics. The first Easter egg appears on stage, including a very large snail with a bushy brown body. Longtime fans may recognize this creature as the elephant snail from the episode Don't Feed the Clowns, a one-off character from that episode. In that episode, the elephant snail was a circus animal that roared like an elephant and balanced on a beach ball. Well, Pardon My Wand brings the elephant snail back for an encore, making for a really cool Easter egg, as this character has not been seen since, and I don't think he's going to be seen again for a while after this. But yeah, as the episode continues, SpongeBob inadvertently casts a hiccup spell on himself, and this is where another Easter egg comes in. The uncontrollable hiccups SpongeBob makes throughout the scene might sound exactly like you've heard them before, and that's because the audio recordings of SpongeBob hiccups are literally reused from the episode Hiccup Plague. In Hiccup Plague from season 12, SpongeBob was afflicted with a citywide contagious hiccup outbreak, and Tom Kenny's ridiculous hiccup sounds in that episode were apparently so perfect that Pardon My Wand lifted them wholesale for this magic mission. Here's the Pardon My Wand version. And here's the Hiccup Plague version. And yeah, as you notice, they're like literally the exact same sound. Again, this might be a reference, but this might also just be the team being lazy. Tom Kenny is very old now, guys. He's aging, and honestly, if you even listen to his voice in the most recent SpongeBob movie, you can hear the age. So I imagine that they save certain sounds that he has to make so he doesn't have to redo them when he comes into the studio. That's just my theory, but who knows? As SpongeBob gleefully skips through town wielding the unruly wand, Pardon My Wand turns into a rapid montage of magical callbacks. For example, SpongeBob accidentally transforms a couple's boatmobile into a gigantic orange sea snake. If it seems familiar, it's because that very same slithery creature appeared in the season 14 episode Squiddy Box, when Squidward's imagination turned against him. If we look at a side-by-side, I'd say that these two are the same snake. They're the same color, and yeah, I think it's the same character. But the surprises continue as SpongeBob prances past familiar locals. For example, he skips by the exact same bench from the episode Something Smells. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, I think they're the same. I mean, this old bench is drawn and placed exactly as it was in that season 2 episode, making it a little piece of SpongeBob history plunked into the background. Moments later, SpongeBob twirls past the ice cream parlor from the episode Hall Monitor. Here's another side-by-side, and it's definitely the same. And yeah, longtime viewers have seen this ice cream shop multiple times now. It's where SpongeBob caused mayhem as a Hall Monitor, and where Patrick got severe and comical sunburn back in the episode Sun Bleached. So its presence here further cements the idea that all these episodes share one connected lived-in world, a point that I've been pushing for the past couple of videos. Finally, Pardon My Wand caps off its reference parade with a brilliant deep cut. In the mayhem, SpongeBob accidentally shrinks Squidward, very similarly to the way he did back with Mermaid Man's belt. But yeah, this leaves Squidward tiny in his own garden. As if on cue, the same cockroach from the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4 appears, towering over mini Squidward and proceeding to rough him up.
Huh? Why is everything all tiny?
This is a direct homage of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4 from season 3, making for another really cool reference. Another spooky episode is Curse of the Were-Doodle. This Halloween special brings back one of SpongeBob's scariest creations, Doodlebob. But honestly, Doodlebob's one of my favorite characters. Like, he's awesome. Take a look at this funny clip from his original episode. But yeah, in this episode, Curse of the Were-Doodle, SpongeBob is bitten by Doodlebob, the wicked pencil-drawn duplicate of SpongeBob from season 2's Frankendoodle, and this transforms him into a were-doodle. This happens whenever the moonlight hits, and it's essentially a werewolf-like doodle version of himself. Take a look at this clip. As a tribute to his pencil-drawn roots, the episode is overflowing with references to Frankendoodle, and even a recent Doodlebob cameo, making it a goldmine for fans of SpongeBob lore. Once SpongeBob's Weredoodle side starts wreaking havoc, the homages come fast and furious. For example, take a look at the way the Weredoodle repeatedly body slams Mr. Krabs in this scene right here. Dude, he's just like flinging the poor crab back and forth like a rag doll. But this is a direct visual callback to Doodlebob's infamous beatdown of Squidward in Frankendoodle.
Doodleboy, stop!
Did you guys catch that? As in that 2002 episode, Doodlebob pounced on Squidward and smashed him flat in the exact same manner. This has also happened before. If we go back to the episode Squiddy It Box, Doodlebob does the exact same thing. Take a look. Yeah, really cool references here, guys, and there's more. Let's keep it rolling. As the Weredoodle's next rampage moment is another scene ripped straight from Frankendoodle. As you guys just seen, the Weredoodle took that long wooden beam and turned it into a pencil by chewing on it. And longtime fans will immediately recall Doodlebob's tactic in Frankendoodle, where he grabbed the magic pencil and did the exact same thing after it snapped, complete with the same frenzied sharpening sound effects. Seeing the Weredoodle do this with an entire wooden post is a hilarious escalation of the reference. And the episode doesn't stop there. During the climax of the episode, during the chase, the Weredoodle defeats Bubble Bass by drawing a quick hole on the ground, which results in this happening to Bubble Bass. Roll the clip. This trick is a carbon copy of Doodlebob's strategy from Frankendoodle, of course, where the villainous Doodle sketched a pit to trap SpongeBob and Patrick. In Curse of the Weredoodle, the context has changed, with Bubble Bass being the unlucky victim this time. But the visual gag is an instant hole, complete with the scribbled edges and Bubble Bass's shocked expression as he drops through the hand-drawn void. This episode, Curse of the Weredoodle, is very good. So many cool Easter eggs in it. In the episode Terror on Tape, the Star family spend a spooky day watching a collection of haunted VHS tapes, a collection that they got from the Flying Dutchman. Again, this is really cool, another example of them kind of building up the SpongeBob world and bringing it all together. Back in the day, if you guys remember, the Flying Dutchman was like a rare character. Like, it's not like he never appeared, but he didn't appear in every episode, and he wasn't a background character. If he did appear, he was a big part of the plot. So it's cool to see that he's just like a normal character in this episode. But anyways, this episode goes on to essentially be an anthology of mini horror spoofs, with each cursed take telling a different creepy tale, starring Patrick and his family. The episode crams in homages to famous horror tropes, and even a legendary sound effect, one that only sharp-eared and sharp-eyed fans will catch. During a chaotic scene, a hapless background fish falls overboard from the ship Fancy, and take a listen to what happens next.
What? We're off the menu!
If you've heard that little scream before, it's because it's a very iconic sound effect, the Wilhelm scream. This scream, a classic stock sound effect used in countless films since the 1950s, is a beloved inside joke among sound editors and movie buffs. And hearing it pop in Patrick's haunted tape is a treat for fans. But yeah, its appearance in Terror on Tape is both a cheeky nod to horror cinema and a self-aware gag about the rarity of that scream in the series. But let's keep it going, there's more. Each cursed tape Patrick watches is a send-up of a different horror genre, and the episode's artists take the opportunity to reference a beloved horror anthology film. Slayground is presented in a vivid, stylized color scheme that horror fans might find familiar. In fact, the color design of the Slayground, with its lurid reds, deep blues, and comic book style shading, is directly inspired by the 1982 horror comedy film Creepshow. Creepshow, directed by George Romero and written by Stephen King, used bold comic book panel visuals and dramatic lighting to emulate old EC horror comics. And Terror on the Tape lovingly imitates that look. In Slayground, when Patrick and Squidina explore a cursed playground, the frames occasionally freeze into drawn comic panels with saturated colors and eerie lighting, just as Creepshow did. And yeah, this is a really good episode, especially if you're a fan of like Halloween and horror. I know it isn't very fitting right now. Go give the episode a watch, it's a good one. In the season 16 episode Pigskin Pearl, Pearl Krabs joins her high school football team and unexpectedly becomes their new star player, leading Bikini Bottom High into a championship game. I personally really like episodes like this because they're not as focused on SpongeBob and are giving other characters a chance to shine, like Pearl. This has actually happened a couple of times now. Like, we had a whole episode, Mall Girl Pearl, which was all about Pearl getting a job at the mall. I think SpongeBob only appears for like a second in that episode, and there's plenty of others, but this episode in particular celebrates Pearl's athletic prowess, while SpongeBob and Patrick enthusiastically cheer her on from the sidelines. As the game unfolds, the animators slip in nods to earlier SpongeBob adventures that eagle-eyed fans will definitely recognize. For instance, when Patrick scrambles up the towering bleachers to reach the announcer's booth, he suddenly dons a familiar getup, a Swiss mountaineer's outfit complete with an alpine hat and gear. Does this look familiar to you guys? Longtime viewers will remember Patrick wearing a nearly identical Swiss mountain climbing outfit back in the season 3 episode New Student Starfish. During this gag right here.
Come in, SpongeBob!
It seems the Pigskin Pearl team gave Patrick's old costume a bit of a redesign here, but the homage is definitely clear. Another fun reference comes via Pearl's fearsome opponents in the episode. I mean, just listen to this clip right here and listen to what they call the rival football team, like the team's name.
The New Kelp City Delinquents. Their entire team has been held back in school for decades.
As you just heard, the rival football team is called the New Kelp City Delinquents, a team name that in itself is an Easter egg. New Kelp City is a location introduced in the special SpongeBob episode, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, also known as Who Bob What Pants, which is actually a much cooler title. But yeah, this is the first time we heard of New Kelp City.
Citizens of New Kelp, come out of the shadows! Cause Cheese Boy kicked the bubble poppin' gang right out of town!
This is an historic day for New Kelp City. You have rid this city of the bubble poppin' boys.
It's a rare location that is very rarely brought up, and originally was kind of exclusive to Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. The location was made just so that SpongeBob could go missing and end up in New Kelp City. So it's really cool to see it referenced in season 16 so many years later. This is like a deep cut. Also, by naming the rival football team after that city, the episode is like subtly connecting Pearl's high school sports story to SpongeBob's broader universe. And again, I've said this in the past couple of Easter egg videos, this is something Nickelodeon has been doing a ton in season 16. But yeah, let's keep it going. There's some more Easter eggs in this episode. So the climax of Pigskin Pearl delivers perhaps the most heartwarming one though. When Pearl is down and doubting herself, SpongeBob steps in to give her a confidence boost. And if you take a look at this clip, it's somewhat of a reference to an older SpongeBob episode.
You look nervous. I'm gonna share a special cheer with you. My grandma taught it to me. When days are tough and things go bad, grandmas help you not feel sad. Remember to just be you.
As you just seen, SpongeBob performs a sweet cheer that Grandma SquarePants taught him, advising Pearl to just be you when times are tough. Well, this entire scene mirrors an older scene from the episode Rock Bottom. Now, they're not identical, but it's more the fact of SpongeBob quoting something from his grandmother. Take a look at the clip and you'll see what I mean.
I guess Grandpa SquarePants was right. Don't run for a bus. Especially one that's going up at a 90-degree angle.
If you listen closely, SpongeBob does that same high-pitched voice that he did in Pigskin Pearl, showing that these two are a little bit of a reference. Either way, the fact that Grandma SquarePants was brought up in general is somewhat of a cool reference. She isn't in the show very often anymore and had a big appearance back in the episode Grandma's Kisses. She was actually a lot more present if you remember, like back in season 1, 2, and 3, so seeing her being referenced in season 16 is really cool. In the episode Tag You're It, it's a rainy day at Camp Coral, which means everybody can't really play outside. I mean, you could, but you're gonna get wet. It's better to avoid it. So everybody finds a way to entertain themselves indoors, specifically with a crazy game of tag. It's an alright episode, but what we're really here for, guys, you guys know what we're really here for, and it's Easter eggs. And the first one can be found during this scene, where we see Sandy flush her helmet almost like it's a toilet or a drain. If that looks familiar, it's because this is another direct reference, okay? This is a direct reference to OG SpongeBob, specifically the episode Texas. In this episode, Sandy starts missing her home state of Texas, and she gets very emotional. We get a couple scenes of her crying, and in one scene, she has to empty out her water bowl. Roll the clip. This is kind of like a deep cut reference, and it's cool to see that the creators of Camp Coral also knew to include this type of stuff. And there's more in Tag Your It. I really like this one, but if we go to the point of the episode about 13 minutes in and 40 seconds, if we pause at the right frame, you'll notice that there's a jar of mayo on Patrick's shelf. And this is most likely a reference to him asking if mayonnaise is an instrument in Band Geeks. Patrick seems to have some sort of obsession with mayo, which is also why it might be there. But yeah, who knew that Camp Coral actually had some cool Easter eggs like this? Next up is the episode The Jellyfish Kid, and this is actually the very first episode of Camp Coral, a 3D animated SpongeBob spinoff that I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with. I'm not the biggest fan of this show, I'm not gonna lie. I think the Patrick Star Show is much better, but you're not here for my opinion, you're here for Easter eggs, and there are some really cool references in this episode. For one, if we take a look at this scene and we pause at the right frame right here, we'll notice that there's this photo on Mr. Krabs' drawer. And if we zoom in, we'll see that it's him holding Pearl as a baby. Now, if this shot looks familiar, it's because this photo is a direct reference to an older SpongeBob episode. If we rewind all the way back to the episode Selling Out, we can find this exact same photo right here. Let's do a side by side. Yeah, this is a reference, and a really cool reference. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Camp Coral, but I love that this reference is here. But there's also more. One of my favorite episodes is the classic SpongeBob episode Sailor Mouth, where SpongeBob and Patrick come across swear words and they start swearing, something they shouldn't do. You know, they shouldn't be swearing.
Hi, Squidward! How the are ya?
Nice day, isn't it, Squidward?
Every time they swear, though, it's referred to having a sailor's mouth, and this is also referenced in The Jellyfish Kid. In Camp Coral, it's basically like a summer camp, right? So every person has their own dorm, and in SpongeBob's dorm, we see this list of rules right here. And as you can see, one of the rules is no sailor mouth, making for another really cool reference. In the episode Visiting Vikings, Patrick and SpongeBob celebrate Leif Erikson Day by embarking on a time-traveling journey to the actual Viking times. Courtesy of some of Patrick-style nonsense, they wind up in the era of real Vikings, complete with long beards and Norse helmets.
Who are you? We are from the future, where you are a fearsome Viking warrior. But it looks like we got here a little early. So I guess it's up to us to mold you from Meatball Boy into a real Viking warrior.
This zany premise is itself a deep-cut reference. Leif Erikson Day has been mentioned in SpongeBob before, and this episode goes out of its way to honor that legacy. Early on, as Patrick gears up for the holiday, SpongeBob makes a special appearance wearing a traditional Viking helmet and a big red beard. It looks good on him, right? Like, what do you guys think? I think it looks good on him. But yeah, SpongeBob cheerfully exclaims, "Hinga dinga durgan." And you know what? Me saying it didn't do it justice. Play the clip of SpongeBob saying it.
Hi, SpongeBob, hi!
Happy Leif Erikson Day! Hinga dinga durgan.
Now, longtime fans should instantly recognize this costume and catchphrase from the classic Season 2 episode Bubble Buddy, as we get a very similar scene. This is 100% a reference. In Bubble Buddy's opening, SpongeBob wished everyone a happy Leif Erikson Day, and to do this, he dresses up in a very specific outfit and says something very, very specific. Roll the footage.
Hey everybody, it's Leif Erikson Day! Hinga dinga durgan.
As you guys just seen, SpongeBob dresses up as a stereotypical Viking while uttering that same goofy Norwegian phrase, Hinga dinga durgan. This is another one that's connecting the universes, as this episode, Visiting Vikings, is technically a The Patrick Star Show episode, but what was just referenced is from old school SpongeBob, thus connecting the two shows even more. I know I keep on rambling on about that, but it's clear that, like, Nickelodeon is being very intentional about this. I might do a whole video just on this topic.